Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. And you know what I pride myself on more than anything in terms of doing this show is really and truly having a research team that goes out and finds these stories that showcase leftism at its finest. And that's not very good. There's no good that comes out of leftism. It's sad to say. And so we find this story, and you've all heard about this, of course, these kids that die in cars. And I can't even imagine as a parent that and it's a tragedy, right? Because it does happen. I can't imagine a parent who legitimately leaves their kid in a car, hot car, for whatever reason, and forgets, and then comes out and finds out that their kid has died. And that in the Texas heat, which is where I grew up, it wouldn't take very long. And I couldn't imagine how a person would feel because I know how hot it gets in the car. So I get all the tragedy of it. But what I don't understand is who does it. If you said to me, Kevin, a parent left their child in the car, leaves their child in the car 1 out of 1,000,000 times, I'd go, okay, it's believable. You're busy, you're rushed, something happens and, you do something and leaves the child in the car and the child dies. The car may survive, but the child dies. 1 in 1,000,000. That's one of those very rare circumstances of things. I think most of you would agree with me. That's pretty rare. The only way you don't leave your child in a car, is if you're a crackhead. If you leave your child in the car in the hot sun, is if you're a crackhead. Now, I've heard of women, who are single moms, got to run into the convenience store to pay a bill or run up to the cable company, whatever it may be. And so they will leave the car, child in the car running, and somebody takes off with the car. That happens. I've seen them leave people in the car and nothing happened. It's not a good tactic. It's not good. I wouldn't call it a process I would recommend all the time or at all, but I do understand it because single moms are struggling and they do things like that. Now, I will tell you, a responsible mother would never do it. And I get it. People go, well, the child was sleeping and I didn't want to wake them up because they had just got to sleep. Trust me. You take them out of the car, you go do what you do, put them back in the seat, start the car going again, they're going to go to sleep. So you're not going to make a rational discussion for me to go, oh, yeah, there's a reason why you didn't take your kid in. It was cold. It was this. It was that. I understand all. I got all the excuses. I raised 4 sons. I've been there. Mom's been there. You take the kid. Can't protect them from everything, but there are certain things you can. And I've seen, you've seen the stories where some guy carjacks a car. Somebody went out to go use not use the phone, but whatever. I'm dating myself now. And, somebody steals a car. Boop, boop. That's it. Kidnaps a kid. Not by accident, but, there you go. But this story, and even Bill Maher, and I can't stand this dude. He's a stooge, but he's right on this. And I want to play the clip of what he's talking about with respect to these idiots that want to pass legislation to deal with people leaving their kids in the car.
And finally, new rule, my dashboard doesn't need any more indicators. Is your seatbelt on? Are your tires inflated? Is your oil changed? Geez, if I wanted to be nagged this much, I'd get married. And right now in Washington, Democrats have introduced federal legislation requiring car manufacturers to install a motion sensor that would remind drivers that they left their kid in the back seat. Really. It's called the Hot Cars Act because turnaround dip was too on the nose. But if someone's too high to remember their kid, you think they're going to see a little yellow light? There were over 17 million new cars sold in America last year. Are we really going to require them all to install sensors, the cost of which will be passed on to the consumer, to prevent something less likely than being struck by lightning? And should reminding you not to forget your baby really be Toyota's problem?
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So it's one of those rare occasions where I believe I agree with Maher, but it's more that he agrees with me and agrees with us, right? We're the same people in these discussions. You know, practically every piece of legislation passed, everything that Democrats want to do, you know what they do? We could just save one life. And I went through all of this. If we could just save one life, except when it applies to the things that they want. So, for example, illegal immigration. You'd say, you know what? These illegals are killing people. If stopping illegal immigration would just save one life, it doesn't work with them, right? But that's what they use all the time. So Bill Maher is on to something here. He's saying, you know what? We're over legislating, guys. Look at all these indicators I have. There were probably, no exaggeration, 8 indicators. Check engine, check oil, check this, check that, whatever. It's like they don't want you to forget anything. You start your car, you head down the road. You know what happens now automatically? Your doors lock. Now, you go, well, that's kind of a cool feature. Sure, I could tell you it's a nice to have if you give a crap about it. I mean, I don't. I can lock my own door, but nope, automatic door lock. It's a convenience. It's kind of like when they take the money right out of your check so you don't have to, quote, pay your taxes when you choose to. It's a convenience. And then you know what you've done now over the years? You've been trained like a little seal. And you say, you know, you took a little more than you should have. Can I get that back in the form of me filing my taxes? And they go, sure. And so I love how people go, I just got a $5,000 refund. And I go, yeah, well, what could you have been doing with that money all year? You let the government hold $5,000 of yours, making money off of you. And what do you got to show for it? Nothing. But we're at a point now where leftists want you to believe that they're helping, and they are helping you into financial ruin. All of the things that are now on a car are, for the most part, they're now mandatory. So in other words, when a car manufacturer said, I'm going to put in an airbag, a seatbelt, everybody's, yeah, it's a good idea. A lot of people are, getting jostled around in the event of, just regular riding. So I'm going to put a seatbelt, and I'm only going to put it on your waist. I just need to keep you in your car. And somebody goes, that if you're in a big wreck, that seatbelt will cut you in half. You need to have a shoulder harness. So then they go, okay, well, we'll require that the seatbelt now, you reach over your shoulder, you pull it down, click it into the thing. Now you've got a shoulder harness and the midsection thing, right? And that's great. It's a better system. But should it be mandatory? No. Should it be that, if you don't want a great car, we could take a little bit of price out by not giving you that seatbelt. But no, now it's pretty standard to have that one. And I don't care. Makes the car a little safer, makes people a little safer. Put it in there. But then they say, well, it's not just the seatbelt. We also need this airbag. So now you got an airbag in there. I don't know what it cost. Probably a few $100s, maybe $1,000. And then if it deploys, it costs you money to get it reset, recalibrated, blah, blah, blah. So they're protecting you by putting this thing in your car that if it does deploy, it's going to cost you money. But they're protecting you. So the government always feigns that it's going to give you something that it really isn't. Now, let's go back to this child thing, the hot seat law, hot car law. Who is this for? How many of these deaths? I realize they're all high profile, but I want to make a point. They're high profile, but they're still very rare. I'm talking infinitesimally rare. I was going to come up with a new word. Infinitesimally rare. But they want to now add an indicator, add a sensor. So the car manufacturers have to go back and look at, all right, we got to have an indicator, and they put it in there and it costs you another $1,000 for something you will never use because you're not a crackhead. You're never going to need that. Only a crackhead parent would need something like that, but that's okay. The left are crackhead parents telling you need to be a crackhead parent. They can't make sense of it. that you would dare take your car out without a sensor. And what's interesting is when you look at these so-called, these things that get added to cars, over time they will become entitlements. They'll become mandatory. The car manufacturers are figuring out a way to make their cars safer, to make them run more efficiently, etc. And the government chimes in and acts like it's doing you a favor by taxing something else or mandating something else, because that's what they do. I want to play the second half of this clip when we come back, because it's even more telling. And it's sad that this is a state of America that we've gotten to where leftists want to they want to micromanage down to the sensor in your car. What else do they want to know about you?
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.